are Qualibuild. We are 5 partners, which I'll talk about later, and the idea is to upskill in low energy building. Now, I'll be looking at why, what, when, why it started, what's it about, and when does it start. It's already started, but it doesn't matter. So the Build Up Skills initiative led to a Build Up Skills in Ireland, which is the Pillar 1, and the roadmap from that has produced Qualibuild project, which is the Pillar 2. And the main parts we're looking at is upskilling the construction workers that are actually employed, not the unemployed, but the people like SMEs, the small individuals. We're also looking at the building contractor workers and getting them to understand the principles of technologies of low energy buildings, aiming at quality. So we're looking at air tightness, we're looking at continuous insulation, as well as ventilation issues. The final part is looking at building standards now. As you know, in Ireland, it's changed dramatically in the last 5 years. And since we brought in the Building Control Act in 2014, it's done huge changes to the way that building constructors need to think. So that does say knowledge. That's our strategy. We're looking at developing the knowledge, developing the partnerships between different trades, looking at finance and system thinking. And system thinking is a word we brought in which leads to communication, awareness, different trades working together. And we're talking about architects as well as construction workers. It's a huge communication campaign. This is what Qualibuild is aimed at. All those lead to quality. There's also policies. You have to excuse my slide there. They're looking at different policies, as I say, that have been introduced. We're looking at the professionals, as I say, the architects, the engineers, the consumers, because the end user also needs to know how to use the building, and then the construction workers themselves. All these lead to quality, so it's such a mishmash of lots of different strategies that need to be brought together to create quality. Now, the training actions, there's a short foundation energy skills training course for building construction workers. We reviewed, I'll just go fly through these because I know we're short of time. We're developing specific training for different crafts. Now, the building construction workers are actually what defined as common operatives and craft workers, so it's a whole broad spectrum. You're talking about ground workers, you're talking about window installers, you're talking about heat consultants, etc., etc. That's the process we're looking at for training actions leading to trainers. There's no point upskilling building construction workers if we don't upskill the trainers as well. So we have a specific training campaign for trainers, and this is it. We had to address the gap that exists between current trainers. The system in Ireland, since FOSS has gone, Solace have now taken over. Solace, we have been working with Solace to get this up and running. We are now training 100 trainers. That's the idea with CPD. This has to be relevant to the construction industry now. It has to be accessible for everybody, and it needs to be constantly updated, which is why the CPD side of it has been brought in. Now, ITB, IT Blanchardstown, took control of the trainers. They're one of the partners. They went to France. They also went to Netherlands to look at different types of systems that were carried out there, directly aimed at construction workers. And they have developed this program, 4 modules, and we have the building for energy performance, the building fabric, the building service, and the pedagogical approaches to how they're going to teach building construction workers. It's easy to teach architects, etc., because it's all PowerPoint, but with building construction workers, we had to approach it differently. There is a special purpose award and a certificate specifically for this training for low energy buildings. And this training is specifically for the rollout of the construction workers rollout. So the delivery with this was a blended process. So there's hard copy as well as online. There's workshops, lots of site visits to different types of activities. And it has to be assessed properly. We rolled it out in 2 phases. There's October to just completed now in March, and there's 3 groups. There's 2 in Dublin and 1 in Sligo. And Catherine Deary will be talking afterwards. She attended the Sligo trainers. I understand she is one of your members. Phase 2, we're rolling out in September and finishing March next year. And there's further 2 groups. Now, we have Dublin and Cork. It will definitely be in Cork because we have huge requests to go to Cork. Dublin, maybe not. It depends on demand. And the whole point of Qualibuild, it really is down to demand of what people want. So if you are interested and you're qualified enough to be a trainer, apply for phase 2, because we are still looking for people in the northern area. So the foundation energy skills, this is aimed at building construction workers. We're piloting out for 200. Again, it's got to be relevant, it's got to be effective, and we have to be able to assess it and scale it properly, because if we roll this out on national level, it has to be to a certain standard. Again, apologise for the slide, it's all over the place. It's split into 3 days. Part 1 will be day 1 or evenings, I'll talk about that later. We have the definitions, terminology, we talk about the regulations. We don't go into great detail in policies. It's mainly to do with the Irish system. We have building as a system, energy principles, which is, then we have the second day, we're concentrating on air tightness and continuous insulation, and also thermal bridging. The third day is ventilation and condensation, heating systems, energy use in buildings, and low energy language. Low energy language, again, it's this communication, which is one of the faults. So we're looking at Qualibuild, and there were 6 main technical keywords we're driving in this course, which is detailing, insulation, ventilation, thermal comfort in the home, system thinking again, this is the communication and awareness campaign, and energy efficiency. They all lead to quality building. Now these 2 guys here, we have a video which has just been completed, animated. This is Pat and Dan. So you'll see them on the websites. So the delivery, again, it's similar to trainers, but we have a lot of classroom and demonstration. We don't have, I'll move on. We don't have the PowerPoint because you will fall asleep at it. So we have to aim it differently. We don't go into great detail about details because that's too specific for a lot of building construction workers. What we do concentrate is on, literally on the site, what they do. That's what we need to concentrate on, how they need to progress properly, the detailing side of it. And again, look at the new systems that are out there, pushing the technologies forward. A lot of them aren't aware of it, and we need to explain it. Our delivery then is discussion, demonstration, hands-on activities, debates, decisions, videos, and a lot of it is past communication between the trades. That's Joe at the end, that's our compliance man, and he'll be checking their work as we go through. So, the content is finalised, being finalised. It is actually finalised. It is accredited through LIT, and it will be a certified course. It's starting in April, coming up. There were 10 groups regionally throughout Ireland, and the idea is to get it throughout the whole of Ireland. We had quite a lot of workshops and talking to building construction workers, and the favourable one seems to be having 2 days in the classroom and 1 demo day and spacing that out. So we have 1 day every 2 weeks. So because if you're a small business, or even if you're a big business and you're sending your construction workers out on course, it can't be too intensive. The other option is evenings. Now 5 evenings, now down to 4 evenings, plus 1 demo day. And again, that seems probably the most favourable for a lot of people, unless we can get the days on Saturdays. And then there's an online. We may try that, we may not. So it depends on demand. And again, this is all down to demand. Expressions of interest. We have over 400 expressions of interest so far, and there's only 200 places. So it's all going to depend regionally and types of trades, and we're going to get mixed because we have to assess this programme. And most importantly, it is free in the pilot scheme, that is. Going back to the 10 courses, we will be looking at phase 1 and phase 2 again. Phase 1 will be starting in April, as I say, and that will be in Dublin and Cork. So there'll be 1 of each. There'll be a day and an evening in Dublin and a day and evening in Cork. Then phase 2 starting in September, that will go out regionally. So this is where Donegal, if there's a big demand from this sort of area, we will be maybe in Sligo again, as with the trainers, or if it's not too far away, Galway or even Cavan. So, you know, it's down to what people want. Now, the other actions are the registration system. And this is a very important factor. We are hoping to get a card, a certification, and they have to have that certification before they can register. And this protects the homeowner, but it also protects the building construction workers and all the different companies. The other issue is the campaigns, and Irish Green Building Council are driving our campaign, communications campaign. This leads to the national rollout, which is down to finance, as you all know yourselves. So that's our website, qualibuild.ie. IGBC there on the left, and there's lots of coffee meetings. Now we are working with CIF, having breakfast meetings. We also have a lot of coffee meets throughout, working with the Cork Energy team as well. They're the support. That's our steering committee. So we have a lot of big names there, which is possibly why it's moved on quite fast. They're the conclusions. Basically, Qualibuild will be implementing this. Upskilling construction workers is the main thing, and as I say, it's aimed at air tightness, continuous insulation, and if that's created, we need to look at ventilation and different types of ventilation. It's all down to renewable energies, it's all down to low energy building and leading to near zero energy building. This is the building pass, similar to the Safe Pass. We want to get this online, and this will state what they're qualified at. At the moment, there's no system. Ignore the questions, you're not asking me any. And that's our team. There's 5 partners, ourselves, which are LIT. We have Irish, Blanchardstown, Dublin IT. They are dealing with the registration. Irish Green Building Council, as I say, doing communication, and CIF are the construction set. So I'll pass you over to Catherine, who was on our trainers in Sligo.